Okay, year 8, welcome to your video tutorial. Today we're going to have a little bit more of a look at expanding brackets. But this time, I'm going to look at expanding brackets that have negative numbers directly in them, and then we're going to look at simplifying our answers even more. Okay, I need you to write this down. Underneath your heading, expanding brackets, simplifying and, what did that other slide say? Simplifying and negative numbers. I need you to write this, okay? So just a reminder, when we expand brackets, every term on the inside must be multiplied by the term on the outside. But the question I'm asking is, what if the term on the outside is a negative number? Oh, that's odd. What do we have to do then? Okay, let's have a look at this question. Here's something you probably didn't see last lesson. I've got a negative 8 on the outside of those brackets. So again, the first thing I do is I write negative 8. I'm just going to rewrite the question for you. 7 plus 2y. Okay. It's exactly the same process. I multiply the outside by the first term and then the outside by the second term. But this time it's negative 8 multiplied by a 7. So I hope you remember the rule that if I have two numbers that have the same value, so a positive multiplied by a positive, that will give me a positive answer. Or if I have a negative and I multiply it by a negative, so they have the same sign, that will get me a positive. But if I've got two different ones, so a positive multiplied by a negative, that'll always give me a negative. If my signs are different, negative. If my signs are the same, so two negatives or two positives, my answer will always be a positive. Okay, so this time I need to remember my 8 times tables. And I'm saying negative 8 times 7. Okay, negative 8 times 7. So sometimes it's easier to go positives and add the sign in on the end. So if I go 8 times 7, which is 56, okay, and I say, okay, that's a negative and that's a positive, so that's negative 56. That's my first bit. And then 8 times 2y, let's start with my numbers first, my pronumerals second. Negative 8 multiplied by 2, well, 8 times 2 is 16. That's a negative 8 and that's a positive 2, so my answer is going to be negative 16, and then I've got y on the end. So it's really important that you notice how different that answer is because I've got a negative on the outside. If I had a negative in the brackets, okay, that would mean that's negative 8 multiplied by negative 2y, okay? So it's always a matter of seeing what have I got on the outside and what am I multiplying it by on the inside. That's pretty straightforward, okay? But I need you to write this underneath. What happens if when I expand my brackets, I get some like terms in my answer? Oh, what happens when I expand my brackets and I get some like terms in my answer, okay? What should I do? Let's have a look. Okay, here's my first question. 3 brackets 2b plus 5 plus 3b. Okay, I'm going to rewrite the question over here so I have a bit more of my working out space. 3 brackets 2b plus 5 brackets plus 3b. Okay, again, I've got something on the outside, okay, but that's not what's directly to the left of the bracket, so I'm going to leave that plus 3b for the moment, okay, and I'm going to expand my brackets. Okay, I'm going to go 3 multiplied by 2b. We'll do my numbers first. Positive 3 multiplied by a positive 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, and then I've got a b left over. Okay, and then I've got 3 multiplied by 5. 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. And then I just add that other thing that was on the right that wasn't part of the brackets, plus 3b. Ooh, my questions asked me to expand and simplify. I notice that there's a 6b here and a plus 3b. So I can't ignore the fact that they're like terms. I must write it as 9b plus 15. I can't combine the 15 and I can't combine the 9b because they're not like terms, but I must simplify the 6b plus the 3b. Okay, that's really important, guys. Okay, let's have a look at another example here. Let's get rid of that. Oh, no, it's not working. Oh, there we go. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's look at B. So that one's A done. Let's have a look at B. It says 12xy plus 7x brackets 2 minus y. Now, it's really important. Those brackets don't include this 12xy. It's just what's directly next to it, which is the 7x. So the 12xy stays the same. So I'm going to write that in there. 12xy plus, that stays the same. Then it is positive 7x multiplied by 2, and then 7x multiplied by negative y. Okay, so 7x multiplied by 2. Start with my numbers first. 7 multiplied by 2 is 14. Then I have that x left over. This is the important one, this next one. 7x multiplied by negative y. That's a positive 7 multiplied by a negative y. I remember when I've just got a y sitting there, okay, and it doesn't have a coefficient in front of it, what number's meant to be there? I hope most of you are yelling at this video tutorial. One, miss. One, of course. You keep on doing this all the time. Okay? And you would be right. 1 is meant to be in there. So if you want to write a 1 in there to help you remember, that's totally cool. So let's do my numbers first. Positive 7 multiplied by negative 1. 7 times 1 is 7. A positive 7 and a negative 1 gives me a negative answer because my signs are different. And then I've got an x and then I've got a y because there's an x on the outside here and a y over there. Okay, so my answer on this line becomes 12xy plus 14x minus 7xy. Okay, even though there's an x in each of these terms, in term 1, 2, and 3, okay, they're not all like terms. 12xy, so that's saying 12 of x and 12xy, and 7xy are like terms because these x's and y's are exactly the same. This term in the middle with 14 of it as a coefficient is only an x, so it's not a like term. Okay, if I need to simplify that, I read left to right, and that's saying a positive 12xy minus 7xy. Okay, so 12 minus 7 becomes 5xy plus 14x. Okay, take it one step at a time. Okay, do that expanding and then look to see if you have like terms. And that's it, guys. That's expanding and simplifying, as well as negative numbers.